Well, it's a piece of little-known Tampa history. During the 1950s and 60s, many restaurants and lunch counters were segregated until a group of activists staged a sit-in at a local lunch counter that would change the course of history.
Tonight, in-depth reporter Anthony Hill brings us the interesting story of what happened.
I feel like Tampa and Florida isn't really discussed all the time when it comes to our civil rights.
When you think about the civil rights movement, you may think of cities like Selma, Atlanta, and Memphis, but it turns out Tampa was also instrumental in the collective fight for equality. Let me set the scene for you. In the 1960s, many popular lunch counters in Tampa didn't allow blacks to dine in, and local civil rights activists wanted to change that.
Right here where we're standing, at the corner of Franklin and Polk in downtown Tampa, it was the location of the Woolworth's department store.
This is Rodney Kite Powell, a historian with the Tampa Bay History Center. He's telling me about Tampa's first lunch counter sit-in, inspired by the very first sit-in at the F.W. Woolworth in Greensboro, North Carolina. Local activists and students here decided to do the same on February 29th, 1960.
A group of young African-American men and women came here hoping to get served by the Woolworth staff, but instead they encountered a lunch counter closed sign.
And though the original store and lunch counter have been gutted, you can still find remnants of the segregation that existed during that time in the form of plaques engraved in the ground.
It's my understanding that they were placed here at the request of Woolworths as a way to either prohibit or limit any kind of protest that would occur here at their lunch counter at their store. And as you can see, it says leased by F.W. Woolworth and Company, crossing by permission only, permission revocable at will, which means you couldn't have any protest marches or anything like that here without the express permission of Woolworths.
And this is particularly for you. This is scene 10 into 11.
To keep this local civil rights history alive, Stageworks is putting on a play called When the Righteous Triumph. It'll tell the story of what happened during that sit-in.
And then we're gonna burn your ugly body till there's nothing left but your black ash. You understand me, boy?
Thank you for your opinion on which you've meditated deeply.
What this one say?
Clay Christopher will be playing Reverend A. Leon Lowry, a local civil rights activist involved in organizing the sit-in.
I really hope that this play will bring to light what a pivotal person he was in our community. I hope that this play will show what was going on in our community.
Reverend Lowry died in 2005, but Clay recently got the opportunity to meet his wife.
I was very fortunately blessed by Mrs. Lowry with a pair of the Reverend suspenders. They're beautiful. You just tell the man was all gentleman.
Mark E. Lieb wrote the play, and he says, as a Jewish man whose people have also gone through institutional discrimination, it was important for him to tell this little-known Tampa history.
I think that we cannot understand each other, white, black, in any way, if we don't know how we got to where we are today. I think that understanding the civil rights movement as it affected us in Tampa, Florida, is important if we're going to respect each other.
The sacrifice that the men and women who staged the sit-in wasn't in vain.
And finally, a few months later, those lunch counters were integrated. And it was a slower process than perhaps people wanted, but it was a more peaceful process than certainly anybody feared.
The play will be performed here in the Channel District of downtown Tampa between March 16th and April 2nd. And I'll be sure to post ticket information on our website, abcactionnews.com. In Tampa, I'm in-depth reporter Anthony Hill, ABC Action News.